South Africa is a sporting nation that prides itself on its proven track record of success. The national rugby team, the Springboks, four-time world champions, UFC middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis, the national 4x100 meter relay team, and the 2016 CAF Champions League winners Mamelodi Sundowns, just to name a few. But one team tends to fly under the media radar, despite dominating domestic cricket for the past 2 decades and producing world-class cricketers like AB de Villiers and Dale Steyn. The Titans, or Sky Blues as they are known, are by far one of the most prolific teams in the world. CEO Dr. Jacques Fall explains the key to their success.
I do think you need a lot of stability over a long period of time, so I've inherited that. Just our predecessors did such a good job in setting certain administrative standards, creating great relationships with sponsors, and then just doing the right things over a right period of time. But yeah, you need stability over a long period of time, right people in the right positions. It's never just one person. It is good leadership per se, but you need people that can deliver, and we've been blessed with that.
The Cricket Union boasts one of the best grounds in the country, with large grass banks which enhances the fan match day experience. This is critical to selling tickets, attracting sponsors, and retaining talented cricketers, as well as generating revenue to pay staff, which is not easy when other sports tend to get more attention at a time when the country is facing tough economic times.
Yeah, our brand is our promise, isn't it? You come through our structures, you become a world cricketer. If you invest in our structures, there's return on investment. If you attend games within our stadium, it's a world-class experience. If we're a partner, you're a partner to us, we think we can create great partnerships and value, and we've got to continue with living up to our promise, and that is our brand.
The Titans are not only focused on their star-studded men's squad that includes national players like Aiden Markram, Lungi Ngidi and Heinrich Klaassen, but have strategically invested heavily in development at grassroots level to ensure a future talent pipeline, and in women's cricket, where players all have professional contracts and are being exposed to cricket all over the world.
We will commercialise it more and more. We've got a great setup with Japan now. We also have the global cricket tournament that reaches out to even Essex and Namibia, and we'll continue with that. Now, women's sports on the up, and the same with women's cricket. It is one of our strategic intents. So it will be a big focus for us, and we're happy that it's on track where we want it to be.
The Titans are by far South Africa's most successful cricket union, boasting 20 titles and a roster of world-class cricketers. Their commitment to their players, staff and fans has seen the team flourish and build on a foundation of success that comes from hard work, respect and being adaptable in a sports landscape that often requires quick thinking to avoid being stumped. CS du Plessis, CGTN, Centurion.
Right, let's open up our special discussion show further. Unfortunately, I'm not smart enough to break this down on my own. Fortunately, though, we do have one of the best minds on the subject. I'm now joined by sports analyst, sports commentator, and veteran journalist Bernard Otieno to talk about this subject even further. Bernard, thank you very much for joining us on Sports Scene this evening. Talk to us about the importance of community-based teams, especially here on the African continent.
Well, I would probably start by using a rhetoric device in literature called a chiasmus, where you play with words, and in this case would say communities build sports, right, and sports build communities. There's no two ways about it, in Africa especially, because the communities are large, but what brings them together in social activities, in fun activities, sports is one of the largest of those activities that brings them together. And as a result of that, sports has been used to build those communities. If I was to give you an example, in Kenya, we have the Mathare Youth Sports Association, an organization that brought together literally all the kids who are living in the slums of Mathare. And they just didn't come to do sports. Apart from the fact that they had, an array of sports, especially soccer, at all levels, right, at all age groups. They also were imparting skills to those young people. So those young people were able to learn skills in journalism. They were able to learn skills in finance, in accounting, leadership skills. Right now, Mathare has about 4,000 alumni across the globe. all doing different things. Some are professors in mathematics in the US. Some are journalists. Some are referees. Some are coaches. In fact, the only female coach who was coaching a male club in Kenya is from Mathare. That's Beldino Demba. So, you know, the community has built sports because the community already existed, but then sports has given back to them as well by building them. So it's important in African communities and in sports as well for the two of them to coexist. It's a cyclical relationship. It's a reciprocal, let me say, relationship between sports and communities.
Interesting. And obviously these teams do come from a grassroots background, coming from their local area. But maybe talk to us about some of the hurdles that these community-based teams often face in reaching the upper echelons of sport, both nationally and internationally.
One of the biggest hindrances for them to grow bigger is usually the issue of finance. I mean, who's putting the money into those community clubs? You see, most people don't see the value in putting money in those community clubs. Never mind the fact that those clubs command the biggest audiences across the globe, in Africa especially, and in Kenya more specifically. When we talk about Gor Mahia and FC Leopards, that's one of the biggest rivalries in East and Central Africa. But now to put the money in it is where the biggest hindrance comes in. For the clubs themselves, it is usually how do they package themselves to be able to attract sponsorship. You know, again, there's a lot of emotions involved in these games, especially where we have those local derbies. And think about any local derby, right from Cairo to Cape. Think about a local derby. It involves the communities. Indeed. And sometimes there's a little bit of extra action, more than just what you see in the field. Fans taunting each other around the home compound. Some people probably getting annoyed they lost. We've had loss of life as well. So how do they package themselves to be able to attract sponsorship is one of the biggest problems that the clubs usually encounter. The other thing is, who wants to put money in them? That is the other big problem, because sponsors look at value, where they can showcase their products and where their products will have a good reputation. So when they have clubs that have big following, where fans are doing all manner of things reported, then they wonder exactly where they can put their value in. And that is the two biggest hindrances, in my opinion, on these clubs making it to higher levels of soccer. But yet again, they have transcended that. They have gone through that. Gor Mahia has gone through and won a continental trophy. We know about Orlando Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs. We know about Enyimba. We know about Al Ahly coming from Egypt. We have all these teams, Esperance to Tunisia. We see them all. They have gone way further by simply being good. And a couple of people have seen reason why they should put money in them. And that small amount they have received, they have usually proved that they can do very well with it. Yes.
You touched on the issue of local rivalries. Perhaps let's talk about it further. And, you know, are they a good thing to African sport? You know, sometimes you've talked about maybe violence accompanying some of the matches, the rivalry that comes with it. Do they grow sport, or do they take away from it, the local rivalries?
I'll tell you something. Even international rivalries have violence. Maybe we just don't see as much of that as we do, especially in Africa. But those... The action around the game sometimes even supersedes the game itself. You can see a lot of razzmatazz around a game. Kaizer Chiefs versus Orlando Pirates, that's huge. When you go to Tanzania, you have Simba versus Young Africans versus Yanga. That's a big thing. When you come to Kenya, it's Gor Mahia versus FC Leopards. You go to West Africa, it could be Enyimba, it could be Obuasi Goldfields, it could be Hearts of Oak, it could be all those. So it invokes a lot of memories and a lot of emotions that sometimes supersede the game itself. The game might end in a draw. But you know, again, they always say in these rivalries, it doesn't matter what position the team is in the league standings, as long as you beat your rivals. That's how big it is. Those are emotions. So occasionally it spills over and it doesn't paint a very good picture. And you know, as journalists, we are bound to report literally everything, including what is happening outside of the field. And that is where the problem sometimes comes in the packaging. When we package even the violence, I have worked for institutions where when there was violence in the stadium or on the field, we didn't film it. We just didn't, because we don't want to give a very bad picture of what's going on. But there's often emotions. Remember, this is a very emotional game. You see men crying, huge adults crying, fighting, wanting something. Okay,
we've all been there.
Yes, so it's emotional. So sometimes the emotions spill over, and that curtails a little bit of the packaging that makes it impossible sometimes to get the sponsorship.
Right, and just before we go to a break now, maybe what do some of these community-based teams, of course they're popular where they come from.
Yes.
What do they need to do to leverage, to maybe transform and become more national or international and appeal to those national or international fan bases?
You know, all these clubs must now work as a business. You know, there's the business of sports. We must separate the game and the business in itself and allow a business unit within the team to be able to do its due diligence. Most of these successful clubs all over the world have a business wing, they have a marketing wing, they have a PR wing. You know, all these are facets within the team itself. You have a marketing team, you have a legal team, you have a business team that should be able to say, this is our worth, this is what we are valued at. You give us your money, we are going to showcase your products. That's what needs to happen. In the absence of that, when we don't have a marketing wing, when we don't have a department that deals with sales, kind of, you're not selling merchandise, you're not dealing well with tickets and all that, you're not selling enough tickets, then you're not going to make enough money. Some of these clubs make huge amounts of money on ticket sales alone. Remember, this is a 90-minute game. At the most, it will take 2 hours, at the most, with everything else. But you sell out a whole stadium of 60,000 people. And you can sell VIP tickets. And VIP tickets now are becoming the way to go, even in Kenya at the moment. So you make your money from there. But after that, how do you again package yourself? You've got the whole shirt, you've got the sleeve of the shirt, you've got the short. You've got to find a way of attracting people to put their merchandise, their businesses around you as a billboard.